I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:05. Dr. Kaplan, can you please take the roll call?
Sure can. Mrs. Kavanaugh?
Here.
Mrs. Senecal?
I'm ordering the tray.
Mrs. Senecal?
I'll be up in a minute.
It's muted.
Sherry, can you hear me?
Present.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Soroka?
Here.
Mrs. Whited?
Here.
Mr. Delisle?
Present.
All present.
Great, thank you. If we could all rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of
States of
America,
America,
to the republic,
Republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible.
indivisible, with
liberty,
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Bernadette, did we have any public comment?
We did not have any public comment.
Fantastic. So we will kick it over to Dr. Kaplan for the superintendent's report.
All right, I'm going to start with Mr. Stevens. Just maybe around the horn, anything that maybe at this point, if there's any questions about the reopening plan, comments, anything, Mr. Stevens, you want to add?
Yeah, well, the first thing is on the agenda tonight is a calendar change that we're proposing to the Board of Education. We are going to look to see if we can move our March Superintendent's Conference Day that was originally scheduled to the Tuesday after Labor Day, which would give our staff 3 days, September 2nd, 3rd, and September 8th as professional development days. Possibly some orientation for students going to new locations on the Tuesday after Labor Day. And then the first official school day would be Wednesday the 9th. So that's just one change. That's the change as of now. Who knows if that'll change again in a day or two, but that's the change that we anticipate right now that we wanted to propose. Hopefully some of you I've seen attending. There's been a lot of people attending, so I don't know that we've seen every name possible, but we had a great turnout of community participation on Monday night for our UPK through 6th grade community forum. And then again, last night for our 6th through 12th grade community forum. Lots of questions, lots of explanations. I know that Mrs. Frost is working on a question and answer document that we can post to our website that'll help, I think, address some of the concerns and questions that have been brought to our attention. And then it'll be a good companion to the reopening plan that's located on the website. I think I've seen lots of you in some of those meetings, but feel free, we're all yours right now. If you have any questions or concerns, please shoot.
You were on last night. I'm sorry, Mary Beth. I just wanted to clarify one thing. Water bottles became a big issue last night. So I think a happy medium would be that children can bring a disposable or a bottle of water, not a water bottle. So this would be a no, and this would be a yes. So these they can bring to school, they can drink them, and then they throw them out. These go back and forth to home, so we don't want these. So we will settle on, they can bring a bottle of water, and when they leave, it gets thrown out. So it has to be sealed, so we know that it's not being taken back and forth. The most important thing is that we're not bringing personal items from home. So that's the reason for that, but I didn't realize it would be a big deal. And so I think a fair, meet in the middle is bring a bottle of water. Mary Beth, go ahead, I cut you off.
Actually, you just answered my question because I had gotten a couple of texts today asking that very thing. So you answered my question. Thank you.
Perfect. Mr. Stevens, go ahead.
Sorry, I know that you are going to talk a little bit about the reopening committee, so I don't want to get too big into it, but I know a lot of the questions seem to be around temperature checks. Can you just explain the rationale behind that?
Sure. So this is a ton of work for everybody. I mean, the actual opening of school, and teachers have so many responsibilities, which is the safety of students, number one, greeting them, welcoming students. They cannot possibly be responsible for anywhere between 12 and 18 student temperature checks. That means the students have walked on the bus all the way through the school and now up to the teacher's class without necessarily a temperature being checked, number one. Number two, the liability then falls on the teacher. Suppose we use the ones that go on the forehead and maybe the battery's dying. So it shows a temperature of maybe 96, 97, and the student might be 101. And now that teacher can be, or may be perceived as being liable, God forbid, the child is really sick, or the school district. So it's really an undue burden, and it's unfair to ask that of a teacher. We're educators. We are not in the medical field, and we have one nurse in each building, and there is no possible way that they can check 1,400 students. It's a simple thing we're asking parents to do. If you need a thermometer, we will give you a thermometer. If you have a high school student, they can take their own temperature if you have to go to work. You know, at the end of the day, parents know their children far better than we do. So you know when your child's not feeling well, probably without putting a thermometer in their mouth. And so I don't think it's too much to ask for a parent to take care of their own child before you send them off to school. It's not a responsibility I'm willing to put on our teachers. I think they have way too much to worry about, including the safety of what's going on in the hallway. We have, you know, pods of 15 students coming in the hallway at any given time. The elementary school up to 600 students, and up here about the same thing. So that's the reason why there's too much liability for a teacher to take a student's temperature.
Can I
And,
ask a quick question about that too?
I'm sorry.
I know you probably said this, but at all or both the meetings, I was like so busy trying to read all the questions. With the bus riders, especially the younger ones, I know parents might not be at the bus stop for a 5th or 6th grader. How does the bus driver ensure that they did the attestation and the temperature check?
Ideally, they would have it on their phone.
But if they're playing devil's advocate, they don't.
I get it. So otherwise, again,
which I know most of them do, but.
So if they don't, we have to put a little faith that the parents are going to do this. But when they get to school, before they come in, we'll be checking to see that their attestation is done. And to be honest with you, we don't have this completely fine-tuned yet. Some of this we're going to have to learn as we go. You know, we get students that ride the bus that are consistently not doing the attestation. They're going to get a call home every single day. And, you know, at some point, we have to protect the other students. If a parent is not going to attest to their child's health, at some point, they're going to have to be remote. So, you know, we'll do the best we can to check it when they get on the bus, ask the child, ask the parent. However, you know, we need to get this figured out. A lot of children have phones, not all of them. So those that don't, we may need to make phone calls in the morning. And that's another thing is, you know, teachers are going to be busy worrying about the kids that have done the attestation, sending the other ones to the attendance office to have phone calls home. We need all hands on deck. So yeah, it's going to be a little tricky the first couple of weeks. You know, we're going to do the best that we can, but ideally they would have a phone. And if they don't, it's not a problem. But the ones that are chronically not taking the temperatures, we're going to continue to call home. And then at some point, they're going to have to be remote learners until they can comply for the safety of all the kids. Yeah.
I think that's a great, fair way to handle it, honestly.
I mean, I don't understand that, you know, parents want us to do it, because if we were a medical hospital, I totally get it. But, you know, DOH says that temperatures have to be taken. It doesn't say it has to be taken by us. And frankly, many of the schools are doing what we're doing. They have the same exact attestation app that we do, and they're doing the same thing. We will do random temps on adults and on students. So a student might go into the nurse's office for a Band-Aid, and they'll do a random forehead temp on them just throughout the day. You know, a teacher might stop in to, I don't know, get a Band-Aid, and they'll just take their temperature. So the nurse will do random temps throughout the day, just, you know, checking, but there's no physical way possible that we could get all our students in, socially distant them, and take their temperature. And then it's not just a matter of, you know, it's not just a matter of taking the temp, it has to be recorded. That's what the attestation does, that we have it in record for a contact log or contact tracing if need be, that a student came into this school and their parent attested to the fact that they were healthy. So I think that, we have to draw the line on who's responsible for the child's temp and who's responsible to educate the child. And we are responsible to educate the child. And we take that seriously. Mr. Stevens, could you talk a little bit about that 6th grade bus stop? I know that was an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. So we worked out, we know that 6th grade is coming up to the junior, senior high school. Big transition for them, unknowing all of a sudden they're moving to a different building. We know that there's district policy in place for transportation. So being that they're an elementary school aged child, they're in 6th grade, the policy reads that they get transportation up to, I think it's a half mile. So looking at that information, we said, well, what bus stops can we put into place so that students that live farther than a half mile, but not to the extent of the mile that 7 through 12 would get for transportation, they would be able to receive transportation via the bus. So we worked out a couple additional stops that the school bus will stop at after Port Schuyler. They'll stop at the Dome after the Arsenal, and then they will stop at 19th and 3rd and 19th and 6th. And once again, all of the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade will get an actual bus stop that they'll get sent a letter, just like we do for all of our elementary school students, on what their stop is, because there can only be 22 students on a bus now. So we have to be very strategic with where students are getting on the bus and how many students are at each bus stop that's getting on the bus. So, one of the things that Ronnie's doing right now, Ronnie O'Brien, the transportation coordinator, is looking at the number of students that are at each bus stop, including these 3 new bus stops that we're adding, to make sure that we have enough students and we have enough space on each bus to accommodate them. In addition, we met today with the Civic Center, and we'll reiterate to the community tomorrow. Last night, a parent asked about aftercare for 6th grade students. And at the time, we were thinking we don't know. We wouldn't have aftercare in 2 locations. We wouldn't be able to, transport students, but I think that we'll be able to offer after school transportation down to the elementary school for students that are in 6th grade that might still need aftercare with the Civic Center. So if they're in 6th grade,
only like 6 students, right? So that's why.
Yeah, as of right now, it's about 6 students. So the transportation would work out where we'll be able to deliver them to the elementary school so that they'll be able to receive aftercare in the afternoon.
And the aftercare program is only going to be able to go up to 60 students. So that cuts their numbers way, way down, but there is absolutely no space at the elementary school. There's nothing we cannot, because of the staggered times, there's nothing that's open that can be cleaned and sanitized and turned over to them other than the space that we have.
So will they do before and after school with the fluctuating hours now?
Yes.
They will. They'll be doing before and after care in the cafeteria only. And then that space will be sanitized so that it can be used by faculty for faculty lunches and faculty planning, because any teacher during their planning during the school day or their lunch, the students will be in their classroom. So we need a place that they'll be able to go to have lunch and plan. So that cafeteria space becomes large enough that they can socially distance and eat their lunch and so on. And then it'll be sanitized again so that the aftercare can come in the afternoon.
There are no parents, sorry, Maribel, there's no parents that are allowed to come in. They have to wait for their children outside. They cannot come in. Go ahead, sorry.
The younger students with aftercare, normally we keep if there's a UPK, and kindergarten is separate from 1st through 6th grade.
Yeah, actually,
New York State and the age requirements, et cetera.
The age requirements actually for childcare, kindergarten can be with through 6th grade. So the K-6 can stay together in one space. It was the addition of pre-K.
Right.
So with the 4-year-olds, they had to only go with kindergarten age students. So that's why they grouped those together for, management of the students, if you will. So right now, UPK is really up in the air. Not only is the funding still up in the air, we
Right.
haven't heard anything from the state education department regarding funding, but we also, we're really desperate. We don't have a space to
Yeah.
offer pre-K before or after care right now. Every single space has desks and students in it. So once we open up a space, we have to sanitize it and prepare it for the classroom. So we're really strapped with a location right now.
And I went back and looked at the grant. It's $500,000 we get for UPK. It is just not a ticket item that we budget for or can afford. So we'll wait as long as we can, which is unfair to parents. But if we don't hear soon, I think you're going to see a lot of schools folding their UPK because, you know, it's money that we get from, you know, $500,000 is a lot of money that we don't have. Okay, anything else anybody has on reopening for either one of us?
I guess I'll say it out loud again, and I'll probably say it at the end too. Thank you, all of you guys. It's been incredible. I've been looking at other districts. Obviously, some districts got put on blast for not having everything done, only part of it, and all this different stuff. And I hear other people talk, and I'm just grateful and thankful. And although I'm a nervous wreck that my sixth graders going up to the high school, I can't be positive enough about all you guys are doing. So just thanks.
And I want you guys to know it really helped last night. Some of you were answering some questions in the chat box for us, and I appreciate that because it gets a little, as Janelle said, intense. So thank you. And you know, everything we've done so far, if not all of you have been there. So thank you. We really appreciate the support. We feel it and need it. So thank you.
Yeah, I
Just want to echo. Go ahead.
I would echo exactly the same thing. Thanks for all of your support. From day one, we've said that, you know, we are dedicated to the community to establish a relationship between our teachers and our students. And that is our first priority going forward, to make sure that they have the care that they need and that they're held in our care safely. So that's the goal.
Yeah, Amanda and I were actually both on that committee. And again, thank you guys, all of you working tirelessly on it. I'm happy with the information that's been shared. You've shared over and over again, and it's just been really nice to see that there's total transparency here. So definitely we appreciate that. Thank you.
We appreciate it. And Shirley, Don and I are just the figureheads. It's been a complete team effort, really. And, you know, to stick up for my colleagues a little bit, many of them that were put on the governor's bad list, he was wrong, because Anita gave us great advice. And she said, as soon as you hit submit to Department of Health and to State Ed, take a picture of it. And we did. And every one of those schools that I know of, East Greenbush, Troy, Shen, all had their picture to, you know, tweet out and show that they absolutely did submit their plans. I don't know about the other ones, but, you know, we don't need the extra negativity from the government right now after all that we've been doing. So I will give a shout out to those colleagues of mine who did exactly what we were supposed to do. So thank you.
I'll just throw out a plug. If you haven't completed the teaching and learning waiver, and for anybody that's viewing at home, I encourage you to do so that we can get an accurate count of students that are returning, and we can put some plans in place. It's hard to believe that it's already the middle of August, but you know, we need that information. And once we do, it's due by next Wednesday. If we don't receive any feedback from parents, we'll start making phone calls. So, you know, there'll be another blast, I think, on Friday. We'll send another email and text blast out with the information to complete the waiver. And then we'll start following up with parents that haven't done so after that.
We have one more forum tomorrow. I mean, one more this week. So at 10 o'clock tomorrow, for anybody who couldn't make the other ones or still have some more questions or concern, 10 o'clock, it's on our website. And then at noon, we'll meet with our entire faculty and see if they have any more questions or concerns. We have been meeting in small, like, pods of, we spoke to, you know, some of the nurses today, and I've met with Carol Radigan from Human Resources with a couple people with their medical issues. And so she's helping us walk through that right now, which I don't know if you were on that call, but I found it to be exceptionally helpful. That was my second time going through it. Also, I think it's really, you know, overwhelming. And so I'm grateful that we have a service at BOCES that can take care of the human resource piece of this, because it's a bear. It's huge. So
Sorry, I was going to say one thing. I wanted to say that I was on that, and I did think it was very helpful for, as a board member to hear, what the teachers maybe needed to know regarding their own health and safety. And I also, so I wanted to thank you for including us in that. And I also wanted to say that I think it's great that, you're going to allow the children to bring in, the non-reusable bottles so that they could, have a beverage if they need it. And I also wanted to say that, listening last night, sounds like you may have virtual band, and I'm very supportive of that. I think that that's a key component to elementary students and to the high school students.
thank you. Got it. I just want to kind of put a bow on this, that a huge thank you to our task force committee, the reopening task force committee, and that was Heather and Amanda. We had some administrators, we had some teachers, we had some support staff, we had students, we had Chief Strock, we had Amanda Duff from Whitney Young, and Mary Beth Miller from the Department of Health. Did I leave anybody out? I don't think.
I can't remember.
So-
Did you say parents?
We had parents, yep. So that was very, very helpful, and that was intense as well. So thank you. And behind the scenes that aren't getting much recognition are our maintenance staff that are, talk about working tirelessly. They're here before us. Sometimes they're here after us, sometimes not. Don's now had to learn the code to lock up the building because we're here for so late. Food service, transportation, they are behind the scenes, but equally as important, and just really, an intrinsic piece of what we're doing here. And it's a house of cards, one thing doesn't work. We get the schedules all set up and transportation doesn't work, and the house of cards falls. So thank you to all of them. I specifically want to thank Daryl Whitehead. North Colony, not first, they had a positive case in their extended school year. And so they had to close, and asked if we could help feed their children, which Daryl did that. It went seamlessly well. And then the second day they had a fire in their building and had to close again. And Daryl was asked to feed them again, and he did. So I appreciate it. Okay, district calendar we talked about. I wanted to congratulate Heather. She was nominated as the vice president of the BOCES Board of Education. And being a small urban district that depends heavily on BOCES, not only are we heavily aided back on the services that we use, but we're too small to offer everything that we need here. So I really value the cooperative services like Judy that BOCES offers, and I'm proud to have you on that board, Heather.
Congratulations, Heather.
And
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
for your colleagues on the board, Heather, I thought Nancy and Kevin were great facilitating our retreat the other night, and I really appreciate that as well. And lastly, we'll get to it on the agenda, but I want to thank and congratulate Don Hogan, who is finally going to go into permanent retirement, I think. He is resigning and he will be missed. Mary Beth says no, he's not retiring, but he won't be coming. He'll be back, right, he does it. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him. He's given a lot to the district over the years, from coaching to he was a teacher's assistant at the elementary school. I'm done. That's it for me. So back to you, Mrs. Kavanaugh.
Mrs. Kavanaugh, you're muted.
And I'm talking away as if you guys. So next on the agenda would be a student council report, which we will not have this evening. How's that going to work? Are we going to be able to get a new student council rep amidst COVID?
Well, we will once we're back in session, because there will be some virtual extracurriculars, and student council is one of them. So okay. Yeah, Mr. Emerson, I think he probably had somebody lined up anyway. He usually had somebody in the hopper.
Good. I always look forward to those reports. So next would be our committee reports. I know that the audit committee has not met recently, so we don't have a report from them. Same with the policy committee. I was going to ask Heather to say a few words on the reopening committee, but I feel like anything we may have learned in the reopening committee 2 weeks ago has been discussed 10 times over. But Heather, is there anything you wanted to add about that?
No, I agree with you, Amanda.
All right, perfect. So at this time, I had a break built in on the agenda for any Board of Ed discussion, any discussion that any members wanted to have about the things that we've heard from Superintendent Kaplan or the reports that we've been given. Is there anything that anyone wants to talk about before we hop into our agenda? All right, if I did this correctly, I'm going to ask for a consent agenda on items 1 through 17 and 23 through 28. Am I right, Bern? All right. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. A second?
A second.
Anything on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, then we are all set with that. So we will take a look at item 18. Resolved that the board recognize and thank Peter and Liz Sutherland for donating 2 book bags full of supplies to be provided to WES students in need as recommended by the superintendent. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
anything on the motion? All in favor? Do you want to do a roll call, Bern? Is that easier or just?
As long as I hear everybody say aye separately, we're good. If you
Okay.
prefer me to do a roll call, I can do that as well.
Oh, that's okay. I'll start. Aye.
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 Thank you. Resolve that the board accept with thanks a check from the Bell Jar Foundation in the amount of $44,238 to fund the Pivot program as recommended by the superintendent. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Yay. Anything on the motion? Hearing nothing. All in favor? Aye.
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 Great. Resolve that the board recognize and thank Amanda Kavanaugh for procuring a donation of 500 face masks from the Albany County Sheriff's Office to the Watervliet City School District as recommended by the superintendent.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Anything on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, that was quick. We're getting good. All right. Resolve that the board accept with thanks the donation of a game buzzer system to the Masterminds team from former teacher and Masterminds coach Victoria Eddie Helnick as recommended by the superintendent. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll
I'll
second.
I'll second.
Full I'll second.
Oh, we're in.
Go on, Bern.
All in favor?
I'm going to
Aye.
give that to Tim.
Aye.
Aye.
Get me in the book. Aye.
Perfect. Resolve that the board recognize and thank Megan Dwyer and Kelsey Logan for their contributions to the Regional Summer Adventure website as recommended by the superintendent.
Well, I'll make a motion.
Ooh, you're getting fancy, Tim. A second?
I'll second.
Anything on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So I think that is everything. We have a little space for a board discussion at this point now that the agenda is complete. I just wanted to mention a couple things. It was on my list to thank Daryl, not just for our pizzas last night, but for stepping up when other districts need help. Every student every day doesn't just mean in Watervliet. So thank you to Daryl and the food service for their help. If folks don't know, there's a thing going on. They're doing a group of students are doing a lemonade stand. They did it today and they're doing it tomorrow from 10 to 5 on 3rd Ave. And it's really cute. It's a group of little youngsters from our elementary school. I stopped by today, but if you can drop by, it means a lot to them to pour you a glass of lemonade. And lastly, of course, Meg Franzak and I are doing an art supply drive. Obviously, our students all need individual art supplies this year. And a former student made a great wish list on Amazon. It's super easy to donate, and we've gotten a ton of donations already. So thank you to everyone who donated, and anyone who donates $10 or more is going to get a $50 gift card to the Black Bear. So, or be entered into a raffle for a $50 gift card. So it's a fun way to donate and hopefully have a few drinks. Anything else that folks wanted to talk about this evening?
I know this doesn't include me, but I want to thank you and Meg, because I started sending some of those supplies boxed up down to the elementary school, and the children are going to be so appreciative of individual bag. They're going to bag their supplies up. So thank you so much to the community and for you guys for doing that. And Tim, thank you for offering not the $50 gift card to anybody, but the chance to win the $50 gift card.
He doesn't even know about it.
I had no clue about this. So you're welcome.
The other gift card to the bear.
He's gonna match it.
He might match it. Maybe there's more than one. I don't know. No, I'm just, but
Yeah, I'll match it.
no.
I'll match it.
All right.
Well, look what I started.
It'll be fun.
Anybody else want to match?
Heather, Mary Beth, Sherry, anything this evening to add?
Nope.
I don't have anything. Just wanted to say thank you for running an efficient meeting this evening.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone. Stay cool. Try not to work too hard. And hopefully we'll see you all soon.
We need a motion to close.
I make a motion.
Okay. You beat me to it, Tim. I'll second that motion.
It's always the men's role to do a motion to close.
I'm getting good at this.
Motion, he'll make the second motion.
I'll motion it all.
Have a good night, guys.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.
I think your bracelet.